So we're discussing housing for our most vulnerable populations, folks who are houseless or facing potential houselessness, and then people re-entering from prison.
But what we're clear about, and we all know, for those of us who live here, how difficult it is for the people of Hawaii to remain in Hawaii, as we do here in Hawaii. So I'm going to share two sets of research that we contracted. The first is with Smart Growth America, and one of the things that we were concerned about was this issue of affordable housing, rental housing, that was built years ago, and the expiration is coming due soon. And what that means is the developer will either work with whomever to extend that expiration, or they're going to be able to rent those apartments at market rate. We saw, in fact, I think Rowena was part of a program where we saw that happening on Kauai for about 80 units, where they were, the rent had been moved up to market rate, and people could no longer live there. So one of the things that Smart Growth took a look at, and again, this is a little bit dated because it's from late 2023, and we know it's only gotten worse since this. In Hawaii, it's 2.4 times more to purchase a home in Hawaii than anywhere in the country on average. $750,000 is the median home price. I think it's closer to $850,000 now. 1.4 on Maui. Yes, and this is average, right, for the state. Each county is going to have a different situation. A bedroom, at highest in the state, highest state, I mean, 1.95 thousand for a two-bedroom apartment. We know it can be upwards and higher of that. One of the things that I'm going to look forward to, and Ken, I'll work with you, is the full publication of the work that we did with Echo Northwest, which really talks about the issue of many people in Hawaii can't find housing, but our vacancy rates are high. Surprising, right? That's because the price is too high. So homelessness, I know this has changed. This here says 41 in 10,000 are homeless. I'm certain we're no longer ranked fourth. And then 61% home ownership rate, which sounds pretty good. It just happens that what you'll see in the data from Echo Northwest, a lot of that's from inward migration. One of the things, so this slide specifically is about affordable rental expirations. So where we see the funding, either state funding or whatever the funds may be, are going to be running out. What you see is they kind of talk about here, you know, what we have available. So almost 15,000 as of 2022. But the units that we're going to lose is about 4,600 by 2065. This assumes no new projects are being built, and we know that that's happening, not as quickly as it needs to. But the reason this is important and why we're paying attention to it is that there is no effective process in place to address the expiration where property is going to be made market rent. We have extensions. Kenna talked about affordability in perpetuity. These are properties, so our concern really is for those people who are going to be forced out of their homes because the property's affordability has expired and they're forced to pay market rent or move elsewhere. The rate of percentage of kupuna that are homeless was previously 7%, and has now gone up to 23%. And there's no way that that's okay. So we wanted to make sure that we were paying attention to that as well. I'm going to move through this very quickly. This, again, looks at each of the counties, focuses on the total units that you saw on the other column. But then by age, it also tries to identify the actual number of units. Again, this is a projection utilizing census data and the ACS annual data to come up with this. So Hawaii County, where it shows the decrease, is the fact that even though a lot of people are actually moving to Hawaii Island, there's a real big exodus of younger people. So where you see some of this decrease is really the workforce leaving Hawaii Island. And that's an issue. So one of the concerns for ARP's purposes that we have is we already know that there's more and more older adults in Hawaii. We tend to live longer. We have a lot of inward migration of people retiring. Interestingly, they're all going, most of them are going to the Big Island. And regrettably, at some point, there won't be young people to care for them, which is our concern. When we look at the income level in Hawaii, generally, previously in 2013, you hit about 75,000 as a peak, and then the people who make more than that tends to go down. Well, in 2023, it looks nothing like that. Somewhere out there, we have a huge increase of people making 100 to 150,000 or more a year with an upward trajectory that is phenomenal. I know that you know that's not anybody we know. So what we see, and it's not a bad thing, Hawaii is a wonderful place to retire to, but it's what we've all experienced. External forces driving up the cost of homes, and believe it or not, that's happening in Montana, in Idaho, across the country. People are moving into those states, but it shows that trajectory. And it's something that we all know and feel. So the work that you do is so critical for us to ensure that the people of Hawaii can remain here, and importantly, that we have the workforce and our families that can care for kupuna staying in Hawaii. So thank you.
Darcy Shin is going to share about her experiences working with our reentry population.
All right, my name is Darcy Shin. E komo mai, welcome. Thank you for traveling from far and near to join us. May today be a day of awakening, empowering, and rejuvenation, and having our efforts move towards streamlining and increasing efficiency in all areas. I work at the women's prison. I used to work at Waiava in the education department. So right now I'm at the women's prison and I do mental health. And so recidivism is about 68%. And nationwide, the median is about 39%. So it's kind of everywhere, just as houselessness and homelessness. And some of the things that are barriers are lack of employment, and the other thing is housing, instability or inability for them to even connect with housing sometimes, so that therefore puts them almost immediately at houseless homelessness. There's not too many resources out there, and then currently I work in the mental health department, and that's the double whammy, right? So when you get out, not only are you formerly incarcerated, and you have that stigma, and since I've been working in the system, I've been there like 4 or 5 years, I find that the thing that's lacking is the continuum of care. There's no smooth transition, things are missing, they don't know where to go, their anxiety spikes up, and then they go back to their old habits, and then they come right back. So recidivism, I don't think can be really fixed unless we're all working together. And I think the community needs to stop punishing them once they're out. They've served their sentence, they should be done, not, oh, well, you were formerly incarcerated, so you can't do anything, you can't go any. And they already have that feeling when they come out. And we should be more welcoming and say, hey, how do you fit? What can we do? How can we work together? And it's totally not like that. I have a client that she just went out, and she's trying to get housing, but what happened was she secured housing. She's a little bit older, so she was so excited. I got into senior housing, it'll be great. And she was planning to move in October 1st, but what she ended up discovering is that she thought she could, she just had started a job, and she was totally ready to give them the whole down payment and do everything on the 1st. And then they told her the Friday before, we need your money in full today, and she cried and she lost her place. And so that's like one story I have, but there are more than one that I have that I can share, but because of time. But anyway, there's a lot of things that they struggle with too, educational gaps. You know what I mean? They go in, they don't have a lot of education. And we do offer education, but some of them don't even know how to read. So even one of my jobs was to teach them GED. And I go in the classroom and I have the gamut. I have all the way from, I know plus and minus, but I have to go all the way up until pre-alg, alg, geometry. And they're all along the whole spectrum. They can do it, but a lot of times when they get out, they're still struggling, right? When they first come in, they have a voice, they make decisions, they do things, but as they're in prison, they don't have to think, they don't have to talk, they're not even asked. So I think on the way out, we have to keep going this way or move away from punitive and just do more rehabilitative, because our security staff kind of treats them not well. I'm there, I see it, I know. And I think the way to fix that is we need to teach the rehabilitative processes versus having the new cadets come in and the people that are training them are the veterans, because they're putting in punitive again. So we just have to work differently and do some different things. And so the goal is to change the lens from which we view things and change the focus into innovative, more streamlined ways. And we need to be brave enough to do that pivot and do some different things, because obviously what we're doing isn't working. And I think everybody in this room is kind of experiencing that. So hopefully we can all connect and put more like-minded people together, because the broken things don't work, and we already know that. So, you guys are ready? All right. Ken, I don't know if you want to introduce them.
Okay. So you know what? Since Sarah's the one who has the PowerPoint, we'll start with Sarah, and she's going to share about, is it one of the largest tiny home villages in the country? The largest tiny home village in the country.
Sarah Satterley, I'm the Director of Architecture and Site Development for Mobile Loaves and Fishes. That's the name of our organization. We've been around for over 25 years. And about 10 years ago, for 25 years, we've been serving our homeless brothers and sisters that are living on the streets and in the camps all throughout Austin. For a lot of that time, we were a truck ministry. So we kind of do three different things as an organization. So for the first 15 years or so, we drove food trucks around Austin and served hot meals and had clothing and other things that we delivered. We still do that today. We have 12 food trucks that go out 7 days a week all throughout Austin. And a lot of local churches, local businesses operate those pretty much independently at this point. So it's pretty awesome. I see and talk to people all the time throughout Austin that say, oh, I volunteered on a food truck. You know, I've been doing it for 10 years, or my kids grew up making sandwiches for food trucks. And it's become really a big part of the culture of Austin at this point. We've had over 3,000, we have 3,000 active volunteers right now that volunteer on our food trucks alone, which is really important because that's where we started, and that's where we started forming relationships with our friends that are homeless living on the streets. After doing that for many years, we started putting people up in RV parks all over Austin because at the time, and honestly sometimes still unfortunately to this day, that can be the quickest way to get somebody into shelter. It has become permanent housing for a lot of people, but was not designed to be that way. And RVs are really not designed to be long-term housing for folks. But that's where we started, putting people up in RV parks because it was cheap and easy. People would donate RVs to us. We would rehab them. We would put them into existing RV parks. And what we were finding is that sometimes we were taking people out of a community that they had, living in the camp that they were in or under the bridge that they were under, of people that were sharing their similar experience, that had similar things they were going through. We were plugging them out of that and putting them in this very unfamiliar environment to fend for themselves. So we kind of our founders had the idea, what if we started our own RV park? And that's kind of how the idea for Community First Village came to be. I'll talk about this more later, but the third kind of arm of what we do is our Community Works program, where we offer our residents, who we call neighbors. So if you hear me talk about neighbors, they're the people that live at Community First. We are able to offer our neighbors ways to earn dignified income at Community First Village. So here, let me get this pulled up so I can simultaneously look at this. There we go. So Community First Village provides permanent, supportive, and affordable housing for people in the Austin, Texas area who are coming out of chronic homelessness.
Fundamentally, and there was a recent study that came out of California, funded actually by Mark Benioff. There's a homelessness institute, and they did all these numbers, and it really does come down to lack of affordable housing. So as home prices go up, people just can't keep up with it because it's not based on local wages. And so I think sometimes all these other factors then come sometimes after the fact, after you lose your housing, right? So, and they can speak more to that experience of it, but on a big picture level, it is completely 100% connected to the cost of housing. Yeah.
Yeah, that relationship has data to correlate it for sure. Right now, we have the average age of our neighbors is 57 years old. Interestingly, that number is going down. So it used to be above 60, and the number is getting younger and younger. The average time spent living on the streets is 9 years. And currently, we have about 345 formerly chronic homeless individuals living at Community First Village. Also, just for a little more context here, the average age of our population is 57 years old. The average lifespan of somebody that has experienced chronic homelessness is 50. So if you've lived on the streets for any amount of time, your body, chances are, is like 10 to 20 years older than if you were a housed person. So health issues are a big part of what we deal with. Death is a very big part of what we deal with at the village, which I can talk more about later. But again, we have 345 formerly chronically homeless individuals living currently at Community First Village. We have a total population of about 425 or so, or yeah, somewhere around there. That other kind of 15% or so of our population is what we call missional. So there are folks that probably have not experienced chronic homelessness, but just feel called to and have the capacity to live at Community First as a built-in kind of support structure. So those are folks of all different kinds. They're families with kids, they're retired couples, they're working people that work in the city. Some people work there. So that's kind of one of the secret sauces of what we do, is kind of having that built-in support structure. So this is phases 1, 2, and 3 of Community First Village. So that area kind of on the bottom part of that rectangle is phases 1 and 2. And then we are currently under construction on phase 3, which is that area of construction that you can see up there kind of on the top of the rectangle. That is 51 acres, and then phases 1 and 2 combined is 51 acres. The line on the left side is the full-purpose City of Austin property line, basically. Again, it makes our development way quicker because we're not having to go through a building permit process. We do get land development permits through the city and the county, but it's a simpler process. This is a map of phases 1 and 2. Again, we started as an RV park, so there was actually an RV park designer that designed the first part of what we did. And those kind of dark blue rectangles, those were all RV slots. I'll talk a little bit more about what we're doing there now in a minute. All of those little green kind of rectangles on the edges, those are what we call micro homes. So micro homes are site-built structures. They're all under 200 square feet. They're kind of set up as like a single room occupancy or dorm room style where they have a bed, closet, kitchenette. There's no plumbing in these units, and they all share laundry, restroom, shower facilities and outdoor kitchens with groups of about 25 homes or so. So those kind of orange rectangles, those are what we kind of colloquially call bathhouses and kitchens. And those are, again, shared by groups of micro homes. The RVs and park model RVs, again, those dark blue rectangles, are all 400 square foot structures. They are prefabricated, so they are fabricated off-site. We ship them in, and those all have ensuite bathrooms and full kitchens as well. And then all the turquoise boxes are all the rest of our kind of supportive services buildings and other amenity spaces. So we currently have about 100 staff that offices on site every day. Some of that is our program staff, our executive staff, fundraising staff, development staff like mine. And then we also really operate a small town, right? So we have grounds and facilities and kind of other things that you would see kind of in more of a campus setup, sort of. And you know, we have 51 acres of the rest of that light green color is all stuff that we have to take care of our grounds. And we also have pastures, we have a garden, we have other things that I'll kind of talk more about in a minute. So again, we started with RVs. We got refurbished RVs that people donated to us. We refurbished them. Those have a lifespan of like 2 or 3 years. We quickly decided this is a bad idea. And so we started buying what we call park model RVs. So they are basically stick-built homes on RV chassis. They're prefabricated. These are prefabricated in East Texas. And again, these are the 400 square foot units. This is an example of an ADA accessible one with a ramp access. You can kind of see some lined up right there. And then we have micro homes. So those are those 200 square foot site-built structures that share the bathhouses and kitchens. And I also lived at the village for 5 years in a micro home. So I know what it's like to live in the community. This was my neighbor, so I'm on my porch right now taking this photo. And my neighbor right there was really into gardening, so you can see that was right when he first started putting some plants in the ground. And they're kind of also centered around other green spaces. So this is a little park area that a local church donated some money to come build, and then they come out to the park once a month to have a little cookout for the neighbors. This is another example of a home. This home actually was designed by a local architect, and interestingly, like won a bunch of awards, which is pretty exciting. The resident of this house, his name is Jesse. He was on the cover of Architect magazine, which is the magazine that goes to every architect in the country. So for a formerly chronically homeless individual to be on the cover of a magazine that goes to every architect was pretty thrilling to us. And of course, we also have our 3D printed icon homes, which I think we're going to hear about tomorrow as well. So we like to try out lots of things at Community First Village. We have a garden in the middle. This is actually our first garden, and we have a couple of other gardens, but we have our neighbors that work in a garden, and there's a farmer's market every Saturday, so any of our neighbors that live there can come get free produce and free eggs from the pasture, and people can come hang out. We also host several hundred volunteers every week, and so you can sign up to come volunteer at Community First, and one of our neighbors will be kind of your leader, and they can lead you through, tilling the garden or doing other activities. A lot of our neighbors, again, average age is 57, most of which are coming in as a single person alone. Most of those people have lost a lot of their support networks, and so we really see, community as the end goal there to get people the support systems back, and housing is integrally tied to that, right? I mentioned this before, but we're under construction right now on our Phase 3 property, which is right across the street from our current property. We'll have an additional 600 homes on that side. And then our Phase 4 property, which is actually a different location about 8 miles south of us, and that's 76 acres. and about 650 homes or so. We're also partnering with another local affordable housing developer, Foundation Communities. They are the best at what they do. They have so many properties all over the city of Austin, and they're building a 100-unit SRO property kind of right there at the front of our community. And lastly, one of the things that we started to think about when we started to plan for phases 3 and 4 was what happens when you grow a lot bigger than a small village, right? So we had about 200 or so neighbors living at Community First Village in 2020. 2020 was about the time that we were donated the 2 pieces of property that became phases 3 and 4. We always were looking towards phase 3 and 4, but we thought it was going to be a lot smaller. It ended up being much bigger than we thought, which is awesome, very exciting. But we knew that we had a model that worked really well at around 200 neighbors, right? But what happens when you have 1,200 people living there? Is it still a village? And if we believe wholeheartedly that community is what we're going for, then how do you avoid having somebody just become an anonymous face in, a large group of people? And so we started to think about, all right, we want to build enough housing, but we want to make sure that we're breaking down the scale of housing so that people really feel connected. And so we kind of came up with this model that we're calling neighborhoods of knowingness. And so the way that we developed our property is that on phases 1 and 2, we had what kind of organically formed into sort of like little pockets of neighborhoods, but we knew we needed to structuralize that a little bit more, so we actually developed the neighborhoods, or developed the properties in kind of a neighborhood model. So going back, you can kind of see all of those little pockets are each a neighborhood, and each neighborhood has about 40 to 50 homes, and there's a mix of homes in each neighborhood. So instead of having, about 100 of one type of unit somewhere else and another 100 of another type of unit somewhere else, we have all of the different units mixed in. We like to give our neighbors choices, and so this gives people a range of choices based on what they would like to pay for a unit, where they want to live within each neighborhood. Also, the missional families that I mentioned earlier usually need a larger unit, and so this way that helps our missional presence be spread throughout all of the neighborhoods. And then we have all of our little pink micro homes there, and then they're all centered around the central laundry, restroom, shower facilities, outdoor kitchens, and then a neighborhood green space. But this is kind of the built environment version of, or built environment part of a neighborhood of knowingness. The most important piece of a neighborhood of knowingness is that we are going out and seeking kind of a community partner for each neighborhood. So that might be a church, might be another organization, it might be another neighborhood somewhere else in Austin that comes together and says, we want to partner with this particular neighborhood to these 40 or 50 people. We want to be present with them when they move in. We want to come out once a month and do a cookout. We want to be involved in what's going on in the life of the community. And that's how we see being able to grow and maintain and grow the connections that we have with the surrounding community, because it's not all up to us and the staff members at Mobile Loaves and Fishes. It's up to the entire community to kind of come alongside and up underneath folks that have been completely marginalized and cut off from a lot of other things. So we are under construction now. We have, I think, 10 homes up out of our 1,200 homes that we're about to build. And we're moving in our first 100 neighbors starting on July 1st of 2025 on phase 3. So that's what we're up to.
Aloha, everybody. I'm Rowena Contreras Pangan. I'm from the island of beautiful Kauai. I've been the executive director on Kauai for Ho'omana. We are 22 years old, and I started doing advocacy for children and adults with learning disabilities. Since COVID, I did a whole structure because the students at the 2 schools that I helped out at, I was a training site for the children. I had severely handicapped kids. My one kid was in a wheelchair, no communication. So I have a deaf daughter, so I signed, and he learned how to do American Sign Language. I do the very best I can to help the children. And then since COVID hit, I changed, and they were not able to come, so I started to do houselessness. And this is when I met these wonderful people here from Waianae and Kenna and her group of families and friends, we all became one hui. So on Kauai, I feed on Fridays 140 to 160 people. They come in and they get a voucher. They get to shower. We teach them humanity. I touch them, literally touch them. And then I started doing prison outreach as well. So when the men and women come out of prison, they come to my shop and we collaborate together. And I used to bring out the women that were still in prison and I taught them life skills and then brought them out into the community. So they're working at Safeway and a lot of our local shops here on Kauai. But I just wanted to say that we have to stand up and help our people, you know, and a lot of them have become houseless. One, of course, incarceration, prison. Shame on us, our family don't like us anymore, so we become houseless, right? Number two, I have an 87-year-old grandma whose husband was a colonel in the military. He passed away, they were paying $2,000 a month. Their rent went up to $5,000. So of course, she couldn't afford it, 87 on the street. I have drug addiction, of course. You know, that's their choice, but we still love them. We teach them that, you know, a lot of them come in, they help me at my shop. I have a thrift shop and we service whomever is in need of help. And then, of course, you have a car accident that puts you out, you're the breadwinner, you no longer can provide. I have a family of 6 children, mom and dad, they're homeless. And they come every Friday, we feed them, we talk to them, and they'll be walking into a home shortly once the tenants are out from the other, they're moving back to the mainland, so we have an opportunity to place them. So at Ho'omana, I have diapers. I work along with Aloha Diaper Bank. Ma'iwahine for the women that have their menstrual. We have pads and sanitary stuff. They come in, I have them have a hot shower. We provide a hair salon. I get my hair done from her. You know, we have food bank. So a lot of them don't have any place to cook it, so we have a lot of canned goods. It's not the most healthiest thing, but at least they have food. And then we give them a hot meal. My husband up there is our lead cook, and he cooks every Friday. And then, you know, we have a doctor who fell in love with Ho'omana, and he's a doctor, and we have a RN, and they check your boo-boos. He has put several people into the hospital with, you know, several always on their leg, like mine. He takes care of me too. But I'm very, very blessed. And, you know, meeting Kenna and the group of Kepikoa, this is our passion, to reach out and touch the homeless. And I'd like to introduce Pu'uhonua o Waianae. I met them a few years ago. They're an awesome group of people that are houseless, that built a community, it's just like this one here. But it's culturally based, and they take anybody. Okay.
All right.
Aloha. Aloha. My name's Kala. I'm one of the leaders at Pu'uhonua Waianae. This is Pia. She's another leader. We're overseers for the village. There's 6 of us. Ever since the lady's passing, Twinkles, she appointed us as leaders to take lead roles and steps to make decisions for the village and to withstand whatever comes our way, to stand strong as one lahui, and to make wise decisions based on not just feelings, but on compassion. And we house right now down at the village about 240 people. Right now we have a 20-acre land that we purchased as a village up on Waianae Valley. That's how Mauka, and then we call ourselves down below Makai. And right now they got construction going on. They're on their phase 2 for the kupunas and ADAs. The first phase was done. There's about 6 units there. Each unit has, you share, it's like a duplex. So each unit is a studio. So there's 12 people that we'll be able to house per unit, per section. We'll be having about, 8 sections there up there. 8 sections that by the third phase should be all family-oriented because we have a lot of children. We have about 42 children that lives in our village right now. Yeah, total. And
Hi, everybody. So my name is Nikki, and I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of context of how this whole structure is. So I am the executive director of Dynamic Community Solutions. Dynamic Community Solutions, or DCS, is the nonprofit that was formed by the Pu'uhonua o Waianae Village to represent the village, to do fundraising and things like that. So the village itself is made up of 8 different sections. So there are 7 sections in Makai, and then Mauka, which is at the new property that they just purchased, is the 8th section. Oh, I'm sorry. So Makai is the village that they're currently at. It's the encampment that's at the Waianae Boat Harbor. It is state land, and the village has an agreement with the state and DLNR where they can reside there under certain conditions, which they are really, really great at being responsible about. And then Mauka is the property that they just purchased. It's 20 acres up Waianae Valley Road that Kala was talking about earlier. So there are currently six overseers. The overseers have a responsibility to oversee each section. Each section has a captain and co-captains. Each section is also responsible for having a weekly meeting to discuss anything happening within that section, resolve issues if it can be resolved at the section level. If not, it's the captain and co-captain's responsibility to bring it to their overseers, and then it's the overseer's responsibility to bring it up at their council meeting, and the council meeting consists of all the overseers, as well as myself. Any issues that come up in the village goes through this flow, and every week on a Tuesday, they have a village or a leadership meeting at the village with the overseers, the captains, and the co-captains to discuss issues. Any decisions that are made in the village, they give the village residents a voice in deciding. So just for an example, one of the recent things that happened was they're in the process of editing their contract. And it's an agreement that anybody who lives at the village has to comply with, like cocoa hours. Everybody who lives there is required to put in some kind of community service. When they were going over the contract to renew it, they wanted to take a better look at what are the consequences for those that don't abide by the rules of the village. So rather than the overseers making that decision themselves, they let the village come up with their own consequences. And so that is a very collaborative setting. Now, the overseers are also responsible for all the extracurricular activities. That includes an event for every holiday for all the children in the village and the greater community. This village never says no to anybody. If they have an event, whether it's Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and somebody in the community comes in, it's always about welcoming them in. They also do an outreach. Is it once a month or once a week? Once a month. Once a month. They go out into the greater Waianae area and do outreach with our houseless neighbors that are living in the area to provide whatever services they can, even if it's just, hey, how are you today? So there's a lot that this village does, and the overseers are in charge of all of that with the help of their captains and co-captains. So that's kind of how the structure works in the community.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. And so, Queenie, I don't know if you want to share about in leadership, because I know you've been in leadership for a while. How do you manage conflict, or how does what's been your experience as a leader?
I would want to say great, but it's really tough for me. I am the youngest among the board members, and also I do oversee the donations that we do receive in the village, and it's a lot. If I had a choice, I would want to be a kid again, no doubt. Because just for me being this young, I'm dealing with more stress than I thought being this fun adult age would ever have. No, I also currently do work full-time as a caregiver. While I'm working, I do also have to deal with situations that do arise in the village, so it's pretty tough right now for me.
A full-time job, and then also the responsibility of village leadership.
Yep, and I'm in the process of another job, so it's gonna be 2 jobs, and yeah, Hawaii needs to get better. If not, I'm moving.
Now, do you guys, which section, are you in charge of a particular section?
I'm not in charge of any sections. I just oversee like the donation center.
Okay.
And I am one of the members who do go out and do outreach in our community. Yeah.
What are some examples of the outreach you guys do?
So we go at like 6:30 in the morning because really that's when we catch people home at their encampment. And we bring clothes, blankets, food, dog food, like anything that we need, we bring for them. And we call them out, we have sit down, we talk story with all of them. And it's basically everyone know everyone in the West. And we all became family, one big family. So they see us pulling in with multiple cars, they already know. It's the people from the village, they coming for help. And what gets to us the most is when we see these little kids that run, literally run to us. And then that's so happy to see us because they only see us once a month. But that's like their best time of their lives is when we come around. So for me, that's worth it. That's worth pushing through.
It's to keep them in check. Rules, we have rules in our village that we abide by to keep everybody honest. You know? Pu'onua, that word means refuge. It's a place of refuge, a place of sanctuary, a place of peace. And, you know, I can honestly say I found more love on the streets than I did in the house growing up. And that lady is my blood. And this is her daughter, Queenie. You know? And sorry. She never let me say nothing, but but that's my mom's baby sister, you know. And I ever thought Twinkle was just a nickname. No. My mom was 7 years old when she named her. Yeah. She was listening to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, that's how she got the name. But it's her middle name that gave it Aloha, that she is. Because Aloha Lani was her middle name. And she is her middle name. No matter if you never like her or if you wish ill on her, she never cared. She can give you the law. She's going to love you until you love her back. She never cared. She's not going to stop. That was her drive, that she's not going to stop. She get to see you, see her love. You know, that's one thing I admire about her. She'll give anybody that just moved in that never have no generator. She'll, hey, you, even though if it's me or her daughter, hey, unplug your generator, give them to them, they get kikis. That was her. That was her thing. She always thought about the
I
kids.
lost the generator 3 times.
She always thought about the kids. She would argue with the mom and she'd be like, but you know, no. The kikis, come on. And that was her thing, was the kids. The kids always thrived in they spoiled. Yeah, the kupunas too, but mostly the kids because our village was built on kids. When 2017 came, they're facing a sweep. In 2017, they were facing a sweep. She had to step into that role and change her whole outlook and fight for something because every night she would stare at, she had all the knucklehead kids in the village, in her camp, sleeping there. About 17 kids in her camp should look after because the parents did whatever. But she made sure that they got the education because education was number one with her. You know, school is number one, always number one with her. And they all graduated. She was the first to graduate, you know. Yep, some of them is in college. Some two stay in the army right now, yeah. You know, like she did success. Like she made sure these kids knew that it was worth it, you know? I mean, she had to be hard on them at times. Which parent ain't, you know? Tough love goes a long way at times. And, oh, that lady, man. Ha. And she always thought about, you know, if we wake these people's spirit up, the people that have been on the streets so long, you give them kuleana. Kuleana wakes up the mana. And that was her saying that you give them a little, just like the saying, that's why I put them on the shirt. And no child left behind. That was her motto. You give them chores. In the village, we all have responsibilities. Like I tell them, like, even though I'm an overseer and you're a resident, it don't make you inferior to me. It just makes me have more kuleana on my plate. That's all I have. There's more responsibility on my plate. That's all I have. But I still houseless just like you. I bleed just like you. She always believed that no matter the title, regardless of the title, everybody is always born to be a leader. That was her thing. It should always empower people, should always have us empower people to step up. Like at first, Pia, she never liked being overseer. She said, nope. For years we tried and we finally got her. Yeah, we get this motto that mamas used to throw everybody under the bus. She's not gonna ask you, she gonna volunteer you what to do. Okay, you gonna be a leader, you gonna run donation, okay. Like we couldn't say no. Like, and then she keep us all honest, like she give us this planner book. And you know, come to the meetings with the planner book, you owe $5. Oh yeah, she's a sucker for food, man. Oh man. Oh, mana is strength, your spirit, you know. You gotta wake up that spirit in you, because sometimes it was so much in dormant that you are so used to negative energy, put downs, you thought you was worthless at that point in your lowest life. But then somebody comes along and recognize you and tell you you're still human. You're alive. You know what I mean? You're worth it no matter what. Come, we'll go clean the trails. Come on. Come, we'll go take us some trash. We'll do some trash runs. You know? We even go out there to the beaches and do cleanups. I just don't like it when you get politicians around because they like do photo ops and I'm not with it. Like either you with the motion or you're not, you know. We don't like take pictures with you. You know, no, that's not what we're doing this for picture taking. No. We're trying to make a movement, a change for the better, you know. Everybody try to predict that, oh, Houseless is lazy. No, we're not. We painted a bathroom at Pokai Bay, the inside, because we was tired of the kikis every day going to the beach, looking at the walls with all kind of words and all kind of drawings. So we ended up painting the bathroom and putting a mural inside the bathroom. And we had the kids put the mural up. That way people appreciate what they see when they go into the bathroom. It's from little things like that can make a cause and effect chain that they build a relationship with the houseless community and the in-house community, with the neighborhoods all around us. That lady had the hardest time from the beginning building a relationship with the schools, the harbor master, city and county, DLNR. Like she came a long way and built that relationship for us to keep thriving. Like right now, we can honestly say that we get that community, we get that communication with DLNR, which is Department of Land Natural Resources, or DAR, or the harbor master, the Parks and Rec City and County, the chief of police, or HFD, or the schools around us, the academies, the intermediate, the high schools. Like she made sure that we build that relationship because she wanted to let them know that we're worth it. Even the neighborhoods across around us. I coach from 4:30 to in the evening every day. I got into coaching for flag football because my kids, when asked, my niece, when asked me for coach, because a coach left the team. But most of my kids on my team is houseless kids. But I let the kids on my team know that, oh yeah, we from the harbor. We just as good. They get just as much as talent as you guys. It don't make them different. We're all people. So the kids on my team that lives in the house, respect, hey, they love coming to our village. For any function we have there, oh coach, when the next function? Will they come? Hey, I'll let you guys know, no worry. You know what I mean? It's building that bond and communication between the houseless kids. My kids right now, they're fixing in school because my son, he's 11 years old. He don't mind doing interviews with people that come from YouTube channels and they come down to the harbor and videotape my son. And ever since the kids in his school found out about the video, he getting bullied for being houseless. And me, I trying to find a way how can I reach out to these kids out there in school and make them understand that it wasn't his choice, you know?
Well, I just really, really want to. Here, Julie. Okay. Yes.
I knew Tinkles really well for a short period of time, but she shared really deeply, and I just wanted to share with you folks some of the things that I just thought were brilliant of what she did. So we have single women that are homeless that are in danger of getting attacked and everything. She would automatically place them by the families, right? She would have the single men, and they have to be, I mean, the way that she arranged the placement, and they were in between so that make sure everybody was protected, you know. They have little, like, picket fences, like, to mark their boundaries so that this is their area that they take care of. But I was also there in Christmas time, and the kids would come, and I don't know what it was. They had gone shopping. I just remember they were so happy, and they were beaming because they were going to do something Christmas to the next day. And she was like, you guys all better go to sleep already because they got a big day, and they're getting all excited about it. But I thought, this is so great, right? I mean, it was about the kids, and so they experienced, Christmas as they were being homeless. And I just wanted to add those things as a tribute to Twinkles because she was brilliant, how she did. Oh, one other thing she said, her security, and no offense, brother, but was all women. It was all women because she said, because women will not go to the confrontation immediately. They will, but she said, if the woman even gives one gesture, the men are right there, boom. They're in the background watching all of this, but the women going up front. The women are the road, what is it? I don't know, the overseer, I don't know what the language is and the leaders, but everybody had their own roads and security. You know what I mean? And I thought that's also brilliant because that's true. The females wouldn't go to that confrontation point immediately. But if need be, they were right there, right? The men would be right there. Anyway, that's Twinkles. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yes.
Oh, actually, one other question I want to ask all of you guys. I just found out, remember, I'm behind times, that if you're a convicted felon, you cannot go into public housing. Right? So who's our president now? I'm just wondering if it's time to change that rule, because think about it. When you look at the homeless situation, where does the breakdown happen, right? And if they could be, if they could have housing coming out of jail, their recidivism rate would go way down. But because they can't go into public housing, they're going to go right back into the same old habits. So I just put that out, so hopefully we can sponsor this. I think the time is right to change that rule.
Yes. Definitely should change that rule. Okay.
Hi, Queenie, Pia. Hello. It's really an honor to even listen to what you folks have to say as perpetuators of a living culture. So thank you. We had a nice conversation at lunch with Sarah, and I wanted to ask you guys a question that we talked about at the lunch table, which was, what's your favorite thing about where you live?
My favorite thing about living, because I live in the village in the Waianae Boat Harbor, Makai. And my favorite thing is there, I feel free. I feel like really there is no, what is that, HOA rules? We don't abide by it, like those rules. Yeah, we don't, we do. We pay the kind utility fees. But I feel more free, more happy out in nature than being in a home. I came from a home and I really refuse to go back, but because we are building on property, that I have no choice but to go back to the house. Nikki's looking at me like,
Thinking like, what?
what's your favorite?
I just moved up Mauka in February. I get several now. I don't have to pull a string on a generator. I can flip a light switch. I don't have to push up pockets anymore. I don't have to pull my own water. Oh, I have a lot more. I'm grateful for this container. You know what I mean? Versus when the wind blow, he might either pocket up or it's gonna rip. So I like where I'm at right now. It's okay, it's manageable, it's a lot easier than where I came from. So that's all I got for that.
All right.
I love everything about the village. I live at the Waianae Boat Harbor. Everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It makes us unique. You know, no matter you don't like me this day, but tomorrow you're gonna like me. Maybe in 5 minutes you're gonna like me after this. We can go handle it someplace, but you're gonna love me after that. You know, but one thing was, it's the conversation you learn about people, about the walks of life they came from, the talents they have, that nobody knew that they had. We get people in there that get law degrees, that get, you know, that have been to colleges, top universities, that have degrees, you know. But like I said, something happened along the way, and here they are today. And I wouldn't change it for the world for them, because I got to see a side of them that not too many people got to see. It took a while at first. Some of them was stubborn as hell. I mean, who ain't these days, right? But no, I wouldn't trade it. I love everything about the village and what it stands for and what it believes in. That's why I choose where I'm at today, because I feel like we help each other to get better. We healing each other by believing in each other. That's what I feel. You know, everybody uplifting each other. Always, no matter if you have a bad day, just be, hey, everybody, don't worry. Tomorrow will get better. It's all good. Just dust it off. Shake what you got going on. Shake it off. What, you hungry? I got you. Come over later. When dinner ready, I got you. Man, I don't deny nobody food. I cook. I don't know how to cook small. Like, I was raised not to cook small. Like, my great grandma always raised us not to ever fight over food. Always get plenty for everybody. Even though when you think you're doubting that no more enough, always get enough.
Yeah.
You know?
So, thank you all so much for sharing, because there's so many stereotypes out there, and it's just so important for us to. Yeah, go ahead.
Households are going to start another nonprofit. This is to raise funds for their kids that are in sports, because
right.
it costs so much money,
Yeah.
you know, to play sports. I think, like for my kids on Kauai, my husband and I sponsor them for all the sports because it's $500 a hit.
Yeah.
So he needs like
Right.
guards and stuff like that. So he and I were talking about it. I said,
good.
mention that.
It's good to have inter-island support for so many things. So anyway, let's give our wonderful speakers a round of applause.